This is Join Us in France, episode 550. 550. Bonjour, I'm Annie Sargent, and Join Us in France is the podcast where we take a conversational journey through the beauty, culture, and flavors of France. Today, I bring you a conversation with Rowena Sjovall about her incredible journey hiking the Chemin du Puy and the Célé Valley. Tune in to hear about the challenges, the stunning landscape, and practical tips for anyone considering this awe-inspiring hike adventure. This is all about perseverance and discovery, as are most hikes, right? This podcast runs on chocolatine, caffeine, and the support of lovely humans like you. You book itinerary consults, take my voice map tours, ride shotgun in my electric car, come to the boot camp, or pledge a few euros a month on Patreon, and I love you for it. Want to keep me going and skip the ads? There's a link for that in the show notes as well. Head to joinusinfrance.com/boutique for everything else, and merci beaucoup. For the magazine part of the podcast, after my chat with Rowena today, I discuss swimming in the Seine. Yes, this summer 2025 in Paris. Being a notable chicken, I wouldn't do it, but surely some of you intrepid travelers will jump right in. You will find all the links and full episode transcripts on the page that lists all episodes by month at joinusinfrance.com/episodes. And if you'd like a handy summary of the conversation with all the useful links, subscribe to the newsletter at joinusinfrance.com/newsletter. It's the best way to stay in the loop. Bonjour, Rowena Sjovall, and welcome to Join Us in France.
Bonjour, Annie.
Lovely to see you. So you were at the boot camp, so we know each other. And after the boot camp, you came back to France to do something absolutely crazy that a lot of people do, though, so you're not crazy.
A lot of French people do.
Yes, a lot of French people do. A lot of visitors from all over the world.
I think so. Yeah, but I didn't meet many. I didn't meet any of them. Maybe one Korean couple at the very beginning of what we're going to talk about today. And the rest, I was literally the only American that I had come across.
Interesting.
Maybe the time of year.
Tell us what crazy thing you did and what motivated you to do this, and where did you start, where did you end, all of it.
Yeah, so this past September, I had walked the Chemin du Puy-en-Velay. I guess it's called many, many different ways. Le Puy-en-Velay, Via Podiancy, or, the easiest one is the GR65, 65. It is one of the 4 French pilgrimage route that connects to the Compostela, one of the Caminos, which is 3 of the 4 connects to the Camino Frances. And then the other one, I think, connects a little bit further south from it. Anyhow, so I turned 55 last year. And prior to that,
Young one.
I wanted to do something really special and something that I was going to remember for a while for my 55th birthday. So I just dug in. And then I remembered when I was in Lyon, France, in April 2023, I had come across right in front of the cathedral, I had come across a marking for the Camino.
Yeah.
It's just like a metal marking for the seashell, or it looks like a seashell. So what I did, and I remember that, so I Googled it to see, okay, where was this going to lead me to? Although back in 2017, I had planned to walk part of the Camino or with a couple of friends from high school, but that fell through. So that's why I kind of thought about that, because it's always been in the back of my head.
Yeah, you picked it up where you left off, I guess.
Yeah, so when I researched where that marker led me to, and that's how I discovered the Le Puy-en-Velay. And so that's it.
You decided to do it.
Yeah, literally, I was in the shower when I thought about it. And I got out of the shower. I told my husband, I know what I'm going to do for my 55th birthday. I'm walking across France, and you can come with, but if not, that's fine. I can do it by myself.
And what did he do? What did he go or no?
He did end up going with me and walk the first 5 days of the whole thing. So, yeah, I did it. I planned it all. I got it all planned before the boot camp. And then when we were in one of our calls at the boot camp, you had mentioned that we are going to visit Peshmerl and also Saint-Cirque-la-Popie. And I think I got so excited. I remember getting so excited because I had also planned to get off the trail, the GR65, and walk the Célé Valley, which is the valley along the lot. And that's what we are going to talk today.
Yes.
I was so happy that it gave me a glimpse of what I will have yet to see, more of what I have yet to see.
Yes. So how did you plan this trip? I mean, I know for the Camino, there's apps, there's books, but the Célé Valley, are there books and things?
Yes, there are books, and also there are apps. And there's also a couple of Facebook groups that is dedicated to that route. So I went on there too, and I used a guidebook called Miam Miam Dodo,
Yes.
which is eat, eat, sleep.
Yes, it's eat and sleep because miam miam is, oh, I want to eat, and dodo is, I want to sleep.
Yeah, so Miam Miam Dodo puts out all these guidebooks, and one of them is for the Célé Valley. But I had to wait to get it because with my research, I found out that their guides they get updated every year. It's a book, but they update the book every year because that reflects perhaps what JEET had closed or what had new ones that had reopened,
Yeah.
different in prices or the different offerings that a JEET might have. I got that. And then also I just from that, I was able to, because I planned everything on my own. So I was able to plan my stages as far as how far I'm going to walk and also where I'm going to stay. And then also little bits of information okay, where is there going to be water access? Because I didn't want to carry water is heavy.
Yeah.
Because I also carried my own pack. It also gives you information whether the jeep can, speaks English, Spanish, German, all that stuff, or if they provide demi-pension or, you're on your own.
Yeah, demi-pension is meals.
Yes. And it's usually a dinner and breakfast. But most of them did, if it's not a demi-pension, there is breakfast or some semblance of breakfast, which is, great. So I use that. And then as far as app, I use an app called Komoot, which is a hiking app.
Yeah.
And before I left, I did it for each of my daily stages. I downloaded it, I kind of have kind of a backup. But the trail itself, the signage is so great. You cannot get lost.
That's cool.
Right? Literally, for me, because I've watched some YouTube videos right before, and I've seen people that have said that they had taken another trail off of Le Puy, because there is another trail that starts in Le Puy, which is the Stevenson, but it's not a pilgrimage trail. In a couple of videos, people had taken that route, and after walking 2-3 hours later, they realized they were on the wrong trail.
So that one is harder to follow.
No, it's not. It's just you just gotta pay attention to the signage, because somehow a lot of the American YouTubers that I saw that was talking about the signage, they assume that the GR65 is just the red and white. So as long as you follow the red and white, you're fine. No, you have to follow the red and white and the correct number.
Mm-hmm.
So for Le Puy, it was the 65.
Right. And Komoot has, I mean, the app will show you as you walk, like you're a point on the map. You can see where you're going.
Yes, you can see where you're going as well as different maybe offshoot trails or roads that are nearby. And that is great because it helps you prepare. There's only one day where I had to take a taxi because the path was flooded. Getting into the trail was flooded, and it's like, I'm not going to cross that flood. And I ended up having to walk along a busy road. And it's not just a little country road, it was a main road. It was outside of a village called Navareng.
Okay.
So this is already past the Célé Valley. But with the Komoot, it tells you all the other stuff there. So in case you have to cut or something. So it's really great. And, and what I did is I downloaded the map before I left. So it was already saved. So I don't need Wi Fi or anything to run the app, to follow the map that I had.
Yeah. And I think Miam Miam Dodo is also an app.
Miam Miam Dodo, they do have an app that started they had one and then they discontinued it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And then they restart. I don't think it's an app, but last year they made their guide available with their proprietary ebook.
Okay.
But yeah, but even Miam Miam Dodo also, it kind of gives you an idea, what's around there. Like if there's a road or something. I don't know if you can see it, like they're marked yellow and stuff.
Yes. 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 So, what time of year did you decide to walk this? You said it at the beginning, I forgot already.
September. So I walked in September. I started from Le Puy on September 5th. Then total, I finished on the 20th of October.
Wow. That was a long time.
It was a long time.
That was a long walk.
Yeah, total walking of 41 days. And then adding the maybe five or so days of what I called rest day, where
Yeah.
I just stayed there an extra day, didn't walk or anything.
Yeah. And you ran into a lot of rain, it seems to me. I mean, this year was wet.
Yes, because when I was reading some posts from people that had walked the previous 2 years, they said weather was perfect. Maybe it rained a little bit one day and that was it. But for me, it was almost every 3 days I've had some kind of rain, which made the trails, a lot of the trails, very muddy and slippery.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem. And you didn't give up. Because you created a Facebook group to follow your adventures. And I kept seeing the weather and your photos. And oh, poor thing. I felt sorry for you. But you never gave up. Like you were just.
No, I didn't give up. It was like one of those things. It's like just, I just got to keep on taking one step at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. You're amazing.
And I believe Helena from the boot camp, I think she said it well. She said, don't focus on something like don't focus on the whole distance. Just focus on the bush in front of you. Walk to there. And then next, focus on the tree in front of you.
She's a wise one, Helena.
Yeah, she is. And in fact, when I met her, I had just gone to a bookstore in Toulouse to get a map, an actual paper map, because I love paper maps. So I wanted as a backup a paper map.
Yeah.
And that's when we got to talking, and she had shared with me that she had walked the Camino Frances years ago. So we kind of, we had something in common. But
That's very cool. How big was your pack?
my pack it was a 41-liter pack, but I did not fill it full. As far as the weight, probably the heaviest with the water was about 8 kilograms, so 16 pounds with water, with my full supply of water.
Right. But you didn't send the pack ahead in a car or something.
No, actually, I ended up maybe 3 or 4 occasions, but it was towards the end where I emptied my pack a little bit, like half of it. I just happened to bring a really lightweight and thin packable duffel bag because my plan was after this whole walk, I had stopped in Bordeaux. And if I buy something and also my walking poles, I was going to stick it in there so I can check it in. So I had that in my pack. And so I would just fill that on those 3 or 4 days that I had it part of my load sent ahead of me. So it worked out. Yeah, because those service are available. And, like I said, out of the 41 walking days, I only had it carried 3 or 4 times. And that is because I think on one day I was going to have to do like 27, almost 28 kilometers. And this was towards the end. I always told myself that this is how I planned it too, that I don't want to I want to arrive where I'm going to spend the night by no later than 5:30 because I don't want to be stuck there out, in the dark. And then towards October also,
Starts getting dark earlier.
it starts getting dark earlier and it doesn't start getting light till later, like 8 o'clock. There was a couple of times towards the end we waited until 8 o'clock, or I mean 8:30 to leave 9 o'clock. Yeah, because between the rain, the clouds, and just the sun, just it's just not shining.
Yeah, yeah. And those services, you don't have to plan ahead. You can just, like at the stop where you are tonight, they can tell you who can move your pack.
That is correct. Yeah, but also there are 3 services at least for the Chemin du Puy. There are 3 different luggage services or transport services because they also will transport people if you don't feel like walking.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you twist your ankle, you might need to take some rest.
Yeah, because I have met people that have decided to take a bus to the next one, or at least partial. So there's 3 of them, and La Malpostal, the name of it, the first one, only services from Le Puy until I believe Cahors.
Okay.
And then after that, a service called Claudine something. I, I can't remember, something Claudine. I'll send you the name.
Yeah, send me the link and I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, so Claudine, then services from Cahors until Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port.
Okay.
And La Malpostal services the Célé, part of the Célé Valley, I believe, as well as Claudine. But they stopped their service on October 15. So if you're walking beyond October 15, there is a third service called Le Valley Saint-Jacques. And they also provide that. And they are all the same price, 10 euros. And there's a limit. You cannot send anything, I believe. You cannot send anything more than 10 kilograms, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just specifically for people that are walking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when I walked the Célé Valley, actually, I used the service once along the Célé Valley.
Now that we've gotten all this general stuff out of the way, let's talk about the Célé Valley and what you enjoyed there. Where did you start the section on the Célé Valley?
So I started in Rocamadour, which is the typical starting of the Célé Valley. So from Rocamadour, I gave myself 6 days, 6 walking days. Because, even with my regular hiking, I'm like someone who's in a museum when I hike. I treat the trail like an art gallery or like a gallery. I'm just like enjoying everything. So I wanted to enjoy all of it. So from the Figeac, actually, I also went to Rocamadour, but I took a train to Rocamadour and then made that, I think it was a 5-kilometer walk from the train station to Rocamadour. And then I went back to Figeac. Then the next day, I left for the Célé Valley. From Figeac, I walk about that 12 kilometers to a village called Bédoué. Compared to the other walks I did, it was a relatively shorter walk.
Sure, sure. Yeah, you had been walking further distances before.
Yeah. By that time, I have already walked for 13 days. So 2 weeks. So Bédoué. So it's just this little tiny village, and I got there early. And it's funny, like I knew I was gonna get there early because a lot of the places they don't want you getting there until like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Right. They don't open till.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna get there early, so I was really taking my time. But I did message my host to ask if I can get there earlier, but I didn't hear. So I just kept on walking, walking. And this path, actually, this is where I had to split up with other people that I had probably walked with that are walking the Lepuy. Because from this path, I have to go the opposite direction that they are to continue on.
Huh. Now I found it. Okay, okay. Oh, and there's a chateau there.
Yes, but the chateau is on the opposite direction, so I didn't get to see.
Ah, okay. Oh, well.
Yeah. There is a cemetery there, which the funny thing is when I was leaving the next day to leave Bedouin, I kind of like looked at my map. I was like, it's leading me to the cemetery. I don't like that.
I'm not ready for that. I am not dying yet.
Right? I was like, what is this trying to tell me? Yeah, Bedouin, just a small town, and it is actually the last village off of the GR 65 before you split off and take 36. Before I take the 36 to take me to along the Célé and then to because I had also gone to Saint Circle.
Yeah.
But it's funny because, like I said, it was a short day for me, so I was just taking my time. So, I would, if I find a nice shade that called to me, I'm there. And about like maybe 3 kilometers, finally I heard from my hostess and she said, just come on over because it was going to start raining that afternoon. And I was walking, there was this couple that crept up behind me and they started talking to me in French. So, I can speak a little bit, right? Just enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I was talking. And then, after a while, I noticed that there was kind of like an accent to their French, but I'm thinking, oh, maybe they're from a different region in France, right? I found out they were British and we got a laugh out of that. They were trying to throw me off. What was their name? Geraldine and Duncan.
Very good.
And then we just got to talking, got to laughing. That we actually passed our jeet for the night. We found out we were staying at the same place for the night too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we end up at this jeet called Les Rondelles.
Yes.
Like a swallow. I think that's the name.
It's a swallow. So L'Hirondelle du Bourg or something?
Rondelle du Bourg. Yeah, yeah. Isabelle.
I can see it on the map.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Isabelle is the name of the hostess, and she has a dog named Saxo.
Okay.
That's the thing. You stay at these places, you're with the pets. And there's another couple that stayed with us. So there was 5 of us that was staying with her that night, and the other couple was from South Korea. And we had a good chat, and we all found out that, even though we all spoke different languages or whatever, but we all loved the show, The Squid Game.
There you go.
Yeah, right? So you find out, things in common.
Yeah, you chat to people. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we had a wonderful dinner that night. And in fact, I remember walking in the house. I was like, I could smell whatever she was cooking was like so good. And I remember, I think I had either called my husband or texted him. And it's like, whatever this lady is cooking, I need to eat now. Can't stand the smell because it's so good. So it ended up to be like chicken.
Yeah. But you were hungry. When you walk like that, you must get hungry.
Yeah. And, I did the French dinner, I should say, of, your entree, which sometimes it's soup or salad or salad. Then your main plat, cheese, and then dessert. I normally don't eat dessert, but I ate dessert every night.
Good for you. That's how life should be lived.
Yeah, the cheese I had to pass because I get so full and I get so, I feel so bloated by it. So I was like, no, I'm going to walk the next day.
Yeah. That's cool. So what was your next stop?
So after that, from Bedouin, I walked about 17 and a half kilometers.
Ooh, that was a serious day.
That was, yeah, I knew it was going to be a long day. And that's the first time I had part of my pack carried
Uh-huh.
because it was raining.
Ah,
It was going to rain that day. And we found out the night before that it was going to be a heavy rain. Not just me, but the other walkers had part of their pack sent.
yeah.
It just makes it easier to walk faster. I walked a little over 17 kilometers to a very tiny village, another tiny village called Brang, Brengues.
Brong. Yes. That's the wrong one. It's in the other direction. That's past Lyon. Yeah, so there's a Brong and there's a Brong Cabreret.
Yeah, Brang Cabreret.
Right. In that area, there's Cabreret, a lot of things.
Yeah, so it was like literally rained for me.
Right. And that's not far from Bouziès, where Pêche-Merle is.
No. Yeah, you're right.
But you had been to Pêche-Merle with the boot camp, so I suppose you didn't go.
Yeah, so this is when I saw that cemetery. I was like, I don't want to go through there. Because there was a moment in there where I thought I was like, I was looking at Komoot and it's telling me that I had missed my turn. And I was like, where is the trail entrance? But it was there was a lot of growth. So it was a little hidden. And it was not far from the cemetery. That's why it was guiding me towards the cemetery.
And you were trying to avoid the cemetery.
Yes. And on this route, I actually passed through a small village called Corn, just like how it is, corn. And there was a lot of cornfields everywhere. And it was actually in this route that I started seeing people that were coming from the opposite direction. Because usually in Le Puy, everybody's going the same direction. So you really don't run into someone going, the opposite direction.
Interesting.
So I went through, all these, like literally everything. A lot of it was corn. I'm thinking, I playing a game in my head because I knew it was going to be a long walk. It's like Children of the Corn. I could think of everything. I was thinking of everything that was corn related, even Field of Dreams. Okay, is somebody going to come out of the corn here? Like Kevin Costner or something, and he's going to speak to me in French, right?
That's funny.
It rained all day. And then I remember on this path, it's like I have to stop for lunch because it's but I didn't want to I would always carry a can or two of those conservas, the sardines, the small cans of sardines. So that's typically my lunch. But I was like, but it's raining. I don't want to have to open it, get my little fork, and all of that and eat it. But I had chocolate. I found my love for Milka chocolate.
Oh, you like the Milka, huh?
With the walnut. The one was with the walnut, not the plain ones, the ones with the walnut. So I just
in France, Milka, we buy that for children.
I love it. I love it. Here in the States, we do have it, but not that one with walnut.
Not the one with walnut.
Yeah, that's what I had for lunch. And I was just...
Yeah, because I don't see anywhere. I don't see any villages along there where you could...
No, there isn't. And in fact, walking the Célé Valley, the villages are far and few in between.
Yeah.
Not only that, there wasn't really a place to even pick up, like in the other villages, there's usually a boulangerie where you can pick up a sandwich to take on the road, or like a market where you can get fruit or anything. So, in my research, I learned that. And that's why, I had kept a couple of the sardines and also a couple of bars of Milka chocolate with walnut.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
And some trail mix that I had picked up in Figeac. And so I had that for lunch, but it was raining and I just kept on walking. Then I go up this hill. I had passed another village called Saint-Eulalie.
Saint-Eulalie, okay, maybe.
I passed it and I remember going up on the hill. And as soon as I reached the crest of the hill, it's like the sun came out for me.
Aww.
So I could enjoy the view. So I was literally looking at, Saint-Eulalie down. It gave me a sense of pride and fulfillment. I like, oh my goodness, I just climbed from there. I was just down there. Those are the moments, every now and then you realize that I hated having to go up. But then I realized what I hated more is actually going down
It hurts your knees, yeah.
on the knees. Yes, I was there. I enjoyed it for a few minutes and then ran into, actually a lady. And again, walking the opposite direction. Because by the time I got up there, I would only had maybe like 4 kilometers from where I'm staying. So I knew I was close. I don't have to really rush it. And it's funny because, she was coming the opposite direction. She stopped. We were there and she's staying down in Sant Eulalie. So I'm going from where she came from. She's going from to where I came from.
Yeah, yeah.
And we jokingly said, "Oh, I can smell the scent of laundry detergent," because we both needed to wash clothes. There wasn't many places that had that, or if they had that, you're not guaranteed with all the rain, that they might not dry up. So you got to find somewhere. And I knew I was getting there early enough that I'll have time to dry my clothes.
Right. I suppose you had rain gear, but not the best rain gear in the world. If you are in the rain all day, it's not gonna.
No, the only rain gear I had was really my poncho, which really helped. And Miyam Yam Dodo is great because it also tells you what Jeets or Chambre d'Hôte has a laundry facility, or if there's a laundry facility in the village. That's how I was able to plan, and I knew I was going to be able to wash clothes there.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was coming down, but it seemed like it was forever. It was taking me forever to get down. But then I saw a sign for where I was staying. It said like 1.5 kilometer.
Yay!
I was like, I'm still high. That's not possible. Maybe they put the sign wrong. But as soon as I came out of the path, down, it was right in front of me.
Yeah, so it was right there.
Yeah, that's why. Because a lot of the places I had stayed, you come down the hill and then you still got to walk another kilometer or two to get to it. But this one was there. And then the next one is I walked 12 kilometers.
Yes.
To Marcillac-sur-Célé.
Marcillac
Sur Célé.
sur Célé. Yes.
We were expecting rain that morning, but it didn't rain. It was just a foggy start. So it was really, it was a really good walk. The trail was mostly like little stones thing, and then also there was a little bit of walking on the road, but it was just to like transition from one trail to the other. A lot of the trails are like that too. And it was on this stage where I saw my first troglodyte.
Aha.
That's how you say it, yeah?
Yeah.
Troglodyte?
Yeah.
Troglodyte. It was in a village called Saint-Sulpice.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw my troglodyte there, and it's amazing how these houses, and they're pretty good size houses. I'm not talking about just some little shack size, but they are good size houses, with 4 windows in the front that are just like built
Into the wall.
into the wall of the rocks, the big boulders. I can only imagine how they look inside. And I tried to find photos of how they look inside. And they do, just like how you would imagine them. The ceilings are lower because the rocks are coming through there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was beautiful. So that one was like a high up there. And then, in fact, after my walk there, I had got there early enough, and I found out that I'm sharing a dorm room with a Canadian.
Huh.
And it was, what was his name? Benoit was his name.
Okay.
He spoke French, but he was able to translate for me because he was able to, because I was the only American. I was the only English speaker in that Jeep. There was 18 of us that stayed in that Jeep.
Wow.
So we had a communal dinner. And a lot of the bigger Jeeps, it's usually a communal dinner. And, we all eat together. We eat with either, the owner of the farmhouse, or like, a big Jeep and everything.
So what was the comfort level at places like this? Like,
Comfort level is really like subjective, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think, how should I say it? In the Célé Valley, particularly, there's not a lot of accommodations. But the good thing is, because some of the accommodations can be just this cheats, dorm style.
Yeah.
But you could also make arrangements to have a private room or a room to yourself
Yeah.
if you want.
The price is not the same, but you can.
The price is not the same. And then actually, it was more expensive. The accommodations on the Célé was more expensive compared to all the other accommodations. And then also, if you're okay, you know, being in a dorm, you have to be okay being in a co-ed dorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes they don't,
They can't.
they can't. Yeah, because they have to accommodate people that are calling in and wanting a bed for the night because it's so scarce there that, you just got to take what you have. The beds are, they're okay. They're not Marriott and nothing. I mean, they're okay. I didn't wake up with my back hurting, nothing. Many provide just the sheet to cover your bed and a blanket. Some of them will put out extra blanket. But what I did is I carried a sleep liner with me. It's made of silk. So I just put that. It's like a cocoon. I just go in there. So I have an extra layer that separates me from the bed sheet and also it adds a little, warmth if it gets so cold.
Did they give you pillows?
Yeah, there's pillows and they'll give you, your pillowcase. And there's a routine every morning where you strip your bed, you take the pillowcase out, you put it in a basket, and that's it. And then some will give you the towels as well, while others, they don't.
But you'll see that on Yum Yum Doodoo.
Yep, it says on Yum Yum Dodo because some of them will charge for it, or if you want an extra blanket, they'll charge for it and stuff. Yeah. So, like I said, this was a communal dinner, and this is where I got asked the French. For some reason, you guys you guys were interested in our election because during that time the election was coming.
Yes.
Yes. Like every time, I was like, "Oh, what do you think of?" I was like, I literally had to say, "I'm on a break. I don't want to think about it. That's why I'm here. I don't want to think about it."
Yeah. I would do the same. Oh, don't ask me. Wrong person to ask. Where to next?
From Marcillac sur Célé, then I went to Cabreret at Peshmerl. So that was a 19-kilometer walk. I did not go to Peshmerl because I was just there.
But it looks like you just walked back in the opposite direction there.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah, it was the opposite direction. So literally, I came from, where the bathrooms are, right where we entered to go visit it? I came from that side of it.
Okay.
Yeah, where the trees are. Like literally, I was there. I was like, "Oh, I'm here." Yeah. And I was like, "I know there's a bathroom here, so I'm going to use the bathroom before I move on with the trail." So yeah, I came from that side and I figured, you know what? I was just here. It's not like they added more drawings.
No. No, you had seen it.
I didn't go, but I did walk by it. And then I literally had to go behind that. There's a parking lot there.
Yes.
And that's where I picked up the trail to continue on. And then that night, actually, I ended up staying at a restaurant/jeep that night.
Oh.
Yeah. And I ended up having my own room. So
Nice.
nice.
Very cozy.
Yeah, very cozy. And I had, I think, a duck. Yeah, duck that night. Yeah. So it was very good. Yeah. Good stuff.
That's your last night of the city, right?
No, I got 2 more. So from there, Cabaret to Saint-Cirque-la-Popie.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So this one, I had to get off the trail that I was following because from the 36, I had to go to 651.
Okay.
So I was there. And like I said, I've been there before, and it's really hard to be a tourist with a heavy pack. So I just rested in front of the tourist office. And then I started walking I ended up staying at a hotel that night because there was nothing available at the Jeet right there in the village. And then I found out the hotel was another 20-minute walk past Saint-Cirque-la-Popie.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because I don't remember many hotels in Saint-Cyr.
No. And then that meant for dinner, I had to go back into Saint-Cirque-la-Popie.
Oh, yeah.
But good thing is, it's hilly and it was dark going back to my hotel. Good thing is I walked with 3 other walkers that I had met on the path. So we all walked with our phone lights.
Together. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that must not have been any fun because it's hilly too, and
Yeah. And then the next day, it was raining all day. So I had to change my route. I had to go back to Bouziers,
Bouziers. Yeah,
which I forgot to say. When I left Bouziers, I walked through the la, Halaj.
le chemin de Halage. Yes, of course you did.
Chemin du Halaj, I did. So I walked back to it again to get back to Bouziers.
Yes, of course you did it in that direction. Yeah.
Yeah, because originally I was gonna have to take the road to get to Bear, Bear is the town I was going to that day. But because of the heavy rain, I decided to take the trail to go back, the Chemin Halaj to Bouziers, and then pick up the GR 36 again to get back on the trail.
Wow.
Because Sunsterk was on GR 651.
What an adventure you had. And I mean, not only did you do the Camino, but you also did side trips like the Célé.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. What advice would you have for people who want to do something like this? What did you figure out that you didn't know before?
Well, first of all, my advice is for people that are considering this trail is learn some French. It will go a long way.
Yeah.
Learn directions, learn how to ask for food, for water, whatever. Learn some French. There were no English speakers on this. I just lucked out that I met two that, could speak English.
Yes.
Don't be intimidated by the walk. If you don't want to carry your pack, use the services.
Yeah.
And also if you're not feeling well, don't push yourself. Take a rest day. Take a rest day. Build in extra days in however many days you think you're going to need. So if you think, I want to do this in 14 days, build in 2 or 3 extra days because you just never know what can happen.
That's really wise. Because if you have to go back because your plane's leaving, then you don't really have a lot of lag room.
Plan as if it's going to rain. Even if you look back like historic weather, plan as if it's going to rain. Bring a poncho or whatever you like is rain gear and layer clothing.
Yeah. Did your boots give you any trouble? Your feet give you any trouble?
No, I came out without a blister. No blister.
Wow.
I have a routine every night before I go to bed or after dinner. I would rub my feet with this cream called Healthy Feet, Dr. Miller's Healthy Feet. I would rub it in between my toes. I would do it too. Put a sock on, leave the sock, just so it absorbs. Because it dries out. It doesn't leave your feet like Vaseline does, where it's gucky. But this one, it just dries out. I sleep with my socks if I want to, if it's not too hot. And then the next day, I wore sock liners that had the individual toes. Because that's the thing, the blister, if you keep your toes separated, it prevents from, the rubbing. The rubbing is what's going to cause the blisters. So I had that. And then I had my alpaca socks on top and then my shoes, which I tested a few shoes until I decided on which was the right shoe and sock combination for me. So I end up bringing they call them trail runners. So they look like running shoes, but they have a thicker threads as well, like kind of like a cross between a hiking shoe and a running shoe. So it kind of, if you think of something that if they marry up, it's the one in between that. And it lasted me the whole time. So, but by the time I arrived, Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and I had put in about 500 miles on those shoes already.
Wow.
I just tossed them out because the threads were all gone.
Yeah. There's nothing left at that point. So are you going to finish it up? Are you going to come back and do the rest?
I am. I'm still hoping I could do it this year, depending on the dates. But this year is getting to be a busy year. So, if not this year, because I want to walk the same time frame I did September. I like that time of the year.
Yeah.
So the next leg would be to walk the Camino Frances, which is what I was thinking about in the beginning until I thought more and I remembered the shell that I saw. So I'll walk that to the Compostela, so across northern Spain to Santiago. And that's I think that's about a 500-mile walk, so almost close to my walk.
But it'll take you 50 days, more or less, right?
It'll probably, you know what? It's going to take me longer because my plan is because I know now how to plan accordingly with my body and my walking pace.
Yeah.
And so I'm not in pain. And because there is a climb right out of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to the Pyrenees over. And the first 4 days of my walk, my husband and I were talking about, like, you know, we were like, why did we do this? Because our body was in pain.
Yeah, of course.
Because it was out in Le Puy, it was up, down, up, down, up, down. So I think what I'm going to do, or I know what I'm going to do, is I'm going to plan it starting maybe in a town called Aru
Okay.
or Navaranx, and then walk to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port so that by that time my body is used to it, has that walking pace. My legs is, you know, warmed up and everything. Because that was my regret, you know, and I didn't think of it until like later on, and it was already too late, that I should have went ahead and crossed the Pyrenees from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. I should have went ahead and crossed over to Roncesvalles.
Kept going because you were fit by then. You were ready for whatever.
Yes, I was ready. Yeah, but by the time I like thought about it, one of the accommodations up there that was, I think, 6 kilometers past Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port have already closed for the season because a lot of the jeets closed for the season. And that's the other thing that people need to consider is the time of the year they're walking. A lot of them close by October 15th, kind of same thing with the transport services. The place there was closed. And then the other place, just a little further down, when I had called them, they didn't have any more room. They were full. And they said, you can try tomorrow. And I didn't want to chance it because the transportation service, the bus service going back to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port wasn't running. Had stopped running too for the season. And I have to up flight to catch back in Bordeaux. So I literally have to go back to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and take a train to Bordeaux.
Right.
Instead of going to Pamplona and things. So I had that logistics that I needed to work out.
Wow.
So that's what I'm going to do is backtrack about 5 days.
That's probably a good idea. Just get your body in the rhythm before you hit the hills, the big hills.
Yes.
Big, big hills.
And it was painful. I was in pain.
Oh, I believe you.
The hardest day is really the second day.
Is that right?
Not the first day of walking. We did 13 miles the first day, which was long, I think. Too long, especially with up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
And then wake up the next day and your body is like hurting.
Yes. You're like, oh, don't do this.
And my Florida legs were hurting. And I kept on describing to people that would ask me, like, what, you're from Florida? How did you do the hills? I was like, I know. I was like, the hills are like Mount Everest for me.
Yeah. That's how it is. Rowena, it's been a delight to talk to you. We really have to stop because we've been talking a long time. But thank you so much for sharing all of that. And it's a delight to hear from you.
Thank you, Annie.
Hey, do this again and we'll talk again.
Yeah. Thank you, Annie. See you later. Au revoir.
Merci beaucoup. Again, I want to thank my patrons for giving back and supporting the show. Patrons get several exclusive rewards for doing that. You can see them at patreon.com/join us. Patreon, join us, no spaces or dashes. A special shout out this week to our Join Us in France champions, Mélanie, Dana Gushventner, Judy Gunn, who joined at the Groupie du Podcast yearly tier, and Madeleine, who is also a Groupie du Podcast. Welcome back as a patron, Marilyn Miller, as well. Would you join them too? You can do it for as little as $2 a month, but if you can afford it, I would love to have you pledge more so you can have access to more of the rewards. And to support Elise, go to patreon.com/EliseArt, ELYSART. Somebody left this review of my Ile de la Cité tour. This person says, I was visiting Paris for the day by myself, and I decided I wanted to venture out and see some sights. I decided to check the App Store before leaving the hotel to see if I could find some guides, and that's how I stumbled upon VoiceMap. I am very glad I did. Annie's tour was the one at the top that had the most reviews, and now I know why. She was excellent. The VoiceMap app is very easy to use. I love how it gives you directions to the start of the tour and gently guides you to where to go. I enjoyed walking around with Annie, and I am already at Saint-Régis looking for my next tour. Wish I had more time. Highly recommended. Thank you so much. That's wonderful to know. I know a lot of the people who write reviews are podcast listeners, but there are also plenty of people who don't know anything about me who enjoy those tours. And podcast listeners get a big discount for buying these tours from my website. It's best for me as well because I get to keep more of what you pay instead of giving it to Apple or Google. But if you buy from my boutique, it's a manual process, so don't expect it to be instant like it would be if you were buying directly from the app. To use your code, open VoiceMap, tap tour codes at the bottom right, enter the code and download the tour. You own it forever. Even if you change phones, just log into your VoiceMap account to access it again. The tours work without data because the audio, images, and maps are downloaded to your phone, and GPS works anywhere, even without cell service. Best of all, you can listen in virtual playback from anywhere in the world. Perfect if Paris is not in your immediate plans. You can take me in your pocket with VoiceMap. And if you're planning a trip to France and want expert help, hire me as your itinerary consultant. It's a busy season, so book early at joinusinfrance.com/boutique. Usually I have openings within a month, but right now it's more like 2 to 3 months out, so don't wait. Let's talk about swimming in the Seine. If you're visiting Paris this summer, 2025, and you're tempted by the idea of swimming in the Seine, yes, really, then you're in for something historic. Starting July 5, 2025, public swimming pools will be officially open in the Seine. It's part of the Olympic legacy, but it's also a long-term goal to improve water quality and adapt to climate change. So where exactly can you swim? Well, here are the official places. There are 3 of them for now. The first one is the Bras Marie. That's in the center of Paris. It's near the Paris Plage area, right in the heart of the city. The swimming area will be 70 meters long and 20 meters wide. It's floating with pontoons attached to the quay. Up to 150 people can swim here at the same time. It's open mornings until noon and all day Saturday until 6:30 p.m. Just know that they have to shut down boat traffic for this one, so hours are limited. Number 2 is Port de Grenelle in the 15th arrondissement. It's across from Île aux Cygnes. This site also uses floating pontoons and includes a shallow pool for kids. It can host up to 200 people. You'll find changing rooms and showers on the site. It's open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4:55 p.m. Sundays include short breaks for river traffic as well. And number 3 is Bercy in the 12th arrondissement, right across from the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, Mitterrand edition. This will be the largest of the 3, accommodating up to 700 people, with 300 in the water at once. 2 freshwater pools will be available. It'll be open daily from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. all summer long. Now, these are proper swimming areas with safety measures in place. Expect lifeguards, flag system, green, yellow, and red, to signal water quality and regular testing, water quality testing. Like on the coast, the spots may close for a day or 2 after heavy rains due to runoff, so check before you go. And if you're heading a bit outside of Paris, you'll also find swimming in the Marne River starting on June 28th in places like Joinville-le-Pont near the marina, Maison-Alfort, that's at the Charentonneau footbridge, Saint-Maur and Champigny. These Marne locations will charge a €3 entrance fee if you live in the local area. Each spot can get around 200 swimmers and they'll be open 7 days a week. The Joinville site will be right on a sandy beach. How nice. The local government in the Val-de-Marne has poured over €200 million into making these river sites clean and swimmable again. That includes fixing faulty plumbing connections, building a new water treatment plant, and conducting 8,000 inspections. The goal is to open 14 swimming sites between the Seine and the Marne by 2026. So yes, for the first time since the 1970s, Parisians and visitors can swim in the rivers again safely with Olympic flair. Now let me know, would you do it? Would you pack a bathing suit for a dip in the Seine this summer? I will not. I swim in the Mediterranean. Not lakes, not rivers. That's just, I have issues. I do have issues, and that's one of them. And to talk back on these types of questions, you can, of course, do it as a patron, of course, or on the Facebook group. We have a Join Us in France closed group on Facebook. And if you join that, you will have to answer questions or we won't let you in. We're a lot picky about who we let in. My thanks to podcast editors Anne and Christian Kotoven, who produced the transcripts. Join us next week as we welcome back Kim Cox, who shares the magic of her recent trip to Paris and Strasbourg. She mentions the breathtaking reopening of Notre-Dame de Paris, the enchanting Christmas markets, and hidden gems only locals know about. This episode is packed with tips and tales that will give you serious wanderlust. Don't they all? Don't miss out on this winter wonderland adventure with Join Us in France. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you join me next time so we can look around France together. Au revoir. The Join Us in France travel podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Annie Sargent and copyright 2025 by Addicted to France. It is released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license.